depending on where it is your motivation is, because we've got a bunch of people with different backgrounds on the call. People think to themselves, oh, I want to move abroad, I need to get a visa. And that's true. But it's more of a progression. It's a step. You have to have several things. One of the first things that you need is you need to have skills that make you employable. Do you know why you need skills that make you employable? It's because you need to find a good job. Even in many cases, the reason why people are looking to leave their home country is because they don't feel like maybe I don't feel like I'm getting enough out of where I am. I can certainly offer more somewhere else. Maybe my earning capacity is limited. So for people, when they can reach beyond what they have in their environment, and you can do that when you have the right skills, that solves all of your problems. So one shift I want you to lock down is the first thing you need is not a visa. You need skills that make you employable, skills that make you amazing in the market. Because if there's one category of people who will always be wanted, no matter what happens, it is people who are skilled, people who are resourceful, people who are problem solvers. So the question is, how do you become a problem solver? So it doesn't matter what country you are in. It doesn't matter where your location is at. You are a problem solver and you get paid to solve problems. That's what we're going to be talking about today. All right. Now, a couple of you filled out forms before you joined this meeting. I see that your hand is raised, Agra. I'm going to be taking questions after this session. Don't worry about it. So you can drop your hand for now. Just so that we can get out of here real fast, because I know that we all have things that would rather be doing instead of staying on the call for like the next couple of hours. So Agro will get to you in time. All right, now a couple of you filled out forms before you joined this, and what that did was it helped us get to know you better. And when we looked at what your profile looks like, I'm going to be showing you that. But it does fit a certain pattern that we see in the market. And we're seeing this pattern because the job market is starting to change. The skill market is starting to change. And do you know why that change is happening? That change is happening because of something that we cannot ignore. That is AI. It is the impact of AI. It is completely shifting the market. Now, 72% of employers, they cannot find the AI talent that they need. So this means that even though AI is changing the market, there's still a large category, and I would argue a growing category of employers who cannot find the talent that they need. That's because as AI is erasing jobs, it is also creating opportunities. Now, it needs talented and skilled people to fill that gap. But for some reason, all over the world, employers cannot find the right people. And that's because, okay, I'm going to be taking questions after this session. I see that your hand is up, Rabi, but if you're in a hurry, you can drop your question in the chat section. Okay, you can drop it in the chat. So what this means is that if you want to get in on AI, if you want to become part of the crowd that is wanted, this is the best time for you to do it. Because what happens when the supply cannot meet, when the demand exceeds the supply? What happens is that the salary for the role, it goes up. And that is exactly what we are seeing here. So 72% of employers cannot find the AI talent that they need. 67% get higher pay for AI skilled roles. So what this means is that if you have A and then you have B, A, maybe they are both data analysts, for example. A is a data analyst and B is a data analyst. In the time that it would take A to build a dashboard with AI, it would take maybe A is skilled in AI. It takes A, say, 2 hours to build and tweak a dashboard using the help of AI. Meanwhile, B is also a data analyst, but it takes B 1 week to build because B does not understand how to use AI workflows. Now, the problem with that is that it severely limits how much impact B can make. Because if it takes B 1 week to build a dashboard, it takes A 2 hours to build, it means that A is more of a valuable employee. So when you're looking at how much you're going to pay each of them, because one of them can offer me more value in a shorter period of time, I will go for that person. And this is where AI begins to draw a gap between people who are skilled and people who are not. And this is going to, in many ways, define how much people are earning in the next couple of years. We're already seeing the shift. Employers are even coming to us in analytics to say, hey, I want you to train all of my staff in AI. So one thing that we also handle as well is AI training for businesses. And we're starting to see that the demand is growing over time. It's not dropping. It is growing because businesses realize that they have more people who are skilled in AI. It means that they can do things faster, they can make money faster, they optimize their workflows, and they can save money. Now, another thing is 41 countries are already reporting a shortage. So remember when I spoke about 72% of employers cannot find the AI talent that they need? This is spread across 41 countries. Sit down and think about that scale. 41 countries are reporting a shortage. Now, for the people who want to relocate, you want to move to a different country, or you want to be in your home country and work for countries and work for companies abroad, this represents a lot of opportunities for you because it's not about your nationality. It is now about your skill. And this is opportunity that is there for anybody. You can be an Indian person, you can be from Kenya, you can be from Nigeria, you can be a Ghanaian. The opportunity is there and it doesn't care what country you come from. So who are the people that we've got on the call? You all fall into a range of categories. You're either students or fresh graduates. You're either looking for a job, looking for new opportunities. Maybe you're currently doing something and you're saying, hey, you know what? What if I can be better at what I do using AI? Or what if I transition into a skill that is backed and powered by AI? Some of you are business owners, you're entrepreneurs, and you're saying, how can I accelerate my workflows using AI? And some of you are freelancers. Some of you, maybe you have your own agency, maybe you have your own small business, maybe you're a contractor. But the one thing that connects everybody here together is your singular ambition. Now, you've come to the right place because if there's one thing that we've spent time doing in 10 Analytics, it is understanding our audience. This is why one thing that we know, or a couple of things that we know based off the information that you shared with us, is that if you are here, you are most likely physically exhausted. You probably work, you have a job. Maybe your job is fantastic, but you think that it could be better. There is no one on this call who feels like they have reached the apex of their career. There is nobody on this call who feels like, I don't want to take advantage of this opportunity. I've gotten to a point where I'm comfortable, so I'm good here. If you're on this call, it is because you know that there is more for you. If you're on this call, it is because you've probably watched other people move. They've been getting promotions, they've been getting jobs, maybe they've been getting visas, and you're asking yourself, how can I join this crowd? What is wrong with me? Why am I different? Why is my old always different? And that's exactly what we're going to be answering or solving today. Now, the reason why we exist is because there is a gap between education and employment. It is very obvious. You can go to Coursera, you can go to Udemy, you can go and learn a brand new skill there. In fact, I encourage you, go there and learn a brand new skill. But you see, the problem with that is you don't have community. You don't have someone who supports you and says, this is what you should do, this is what you should not do in the job market. And that is one of the reasons why you see that 73% of people who are looking for jobs in tech, they have the relevant skills, but they cannot land interviews. You know why? Because you go on sites like Udemy, you go on sites like Coursera, you go there and you get the skill. But getting the skill is only 25% of it. There's another part of it, 75%. That's 75%. That is what determines how successful you are going to be in the market. The 75% is what we call in analytics employability. Employability includes things like number one, how you apply, where you apply, how you interview, how you position yourself, how you package yourself. It is a full suite solution that does not just speak or speak to your skills, but to how you present yourself in the market. This is how you get jobs. What we've also noticed is that you are three times more likely to get hired if you have a portfolio versus walking into the market and hoping that you are going to get hired based off your skills and your qualifications alone. And this is why our entire program is designed around what we call employability skills. It is designed to ensure that you go from where you are right now to becoming offer ready in just 90 days. So if you're looking to learn a new skill, before we get into things and we get very serious and we start talking about everything else, I want you to determine what you are on this call for. If you want to learn a new skill, fantastic, go to Coursera. I encourage you to go to Coursera, go to Udemy, go and learn a new skill. However, if you are looking to maybe you want to move to a different country, maybe you want to get a new job, maybe you want to impress your employer. If that is what you are here for, then I would say you've come to the right place. But if your goal is just that 25%, then this is not the right place for you, because we go above and beyond. And do we have proof of this? Absolutely. We've been doing this for over 5 years. Tenalytics is going to be 6 years in August. And within that time, we have helped over 4,000 people. Over 4,000 people who had no prior experience transition into tech. I want you to stay with this. Over 4,000 people with no prior experience, we've helped them transition into tech. So this means that I came in, I did not know anything about tech. Maybe I worked in construction, maybe I was a receptionist, but I came in and then it was in Tenalytics that I learned about tech, but we didn't just stop there. I got a job. Now, these 4,000 people you're looking at, this is not the number of people who have come in and learned new skills or taken a course. This is the number of people who have truly gotten jobs. Now, one thing I always say is for every person that gets a job, for every 10 people that come into Tenalytics and get jobs, only one person comes back to say, hi, Tenalytics, thank you so much. I've gotten a job. This is my testimonial. The other 9, they just vaporize into thin air. So this tells you that the impact is so much larger than we can measure. And that's why I said, if you are serious about breaking into the job market, if you are serious about, you want to accomplish something for you, this is not just about learning a new skill. This is about a goal that you have in mind. Then you have come to the right place. Now, we're registered in Canada and in the UK. And we're active in those countries too. And we help people transition into a range of career paths, including cybersecurity, data analytics, health tech, business analysis, data engineering, financial analytics, HR analytics, agile project management, product design, and others. Now, one of the reasons why you would see all of this here, these are different career paths. But one thing I always tell people is, we don't pick career paths randomly. This is because what our entire USP, by the way, is our unique selling point. Your unique selling point is what differentiates your offering from what your competitor is offering. For example, what is the difference between what Tenalytics is offering and what Udemy is offering? Is that we are saying we're going to teach you employability skills. So in order for us to promise people that, hey, when you come in, you are going to be employable. We are going to show you the way for you to get jobs. We are going to ensure that we take you from a novice into becoming an expert. We have to ensure that we are only focusing on roles that are in high demand. So all of these roles that you see that we teach, All of the skills that we teach are in high demand, and it's exactly what employers are looking for in the market. So you come into analytics, one thing I can definitely promise is you never ever feel alone again. So who is Lola, and why am I qualified to speak to you about this? My name is Olafemi, and I'm the COO of Tenalytics. Now, I've been in tech for well over a decade, and I've worked across various industries in different markets. I've been in e-commerce, in GovTech, in fintech, a range of different industries. I would say that one thing that really one differentiate major difference. Okay, I see that we have some comments regarding the attendance form. Okay, Deborah has pasted the attendance form again. Please, for the people who are just joining us, it is important that you fill out the attendance form just in case you drop off at any point. So you can always gain access to this, to the slide that I'm using right now, to the recording of this masterclass, and then to all of the resources that we only share to people who are in our community. Now, I've worked across different industries, and one thing I would say that makes me an authority on this topic is because I've been on both sides of the table. What both sides of the table means is I have been interviewed and I have interviewed. So I have looked at people's resumes and said, what rubbish is this? And tossed it. And I've also gotten rejected, and I have also been interviewed, and I've gotten the jobs that I wanted as well. So all of that just creates a unique blend, and it is that knowledge that I'm sharing with you. So when I tell you that this is how you need to package yourself in the European market, I mean it, because I've worked in the European market. If I say this is how you need to package yourself in order for you to stand out in the US, in the UK, in Canada, that is something that you should take very seriously. And again, like I said, anything that we do here, we ensure that it is designed for one thing only, to make sure that you are employable in the job market. So what are we going to be covering in the next couple of minutes? Real quick. The first thing is we're going to be covering the job paths that you can take. What are the opportunities that are available to you, even though you are just getting started in tech? We're going to be talking about the opportunity that is in Africa right now and how you can take advantage of that. We're going to be talking about the Tenalytics system, the framework that we have designed that has worked for so many people, over 4,000 people, and how it can work for you. Hendrix is saying the link isn't working. Hendrix, you should try opening maybe try incognito, copy the link, and then try an incognito tab to access it. All right, and then I'm also going to be walking you through some success stories as well, and I will show you exactly how they got to where they are, so that you can repeat the same thing. And I'm also going to be sharing with you what your enrollment options look like. Now, without further ado, let's get into it. One thing I want you to notice, to look at right now, is what I've got on my screen. 1.6 million AI positions are open globally right now. 1.6 million against 518 qualified candidates. Now, one thing you need to understand is that this window is closing. There is a real gap here, and the window is closing. Everywhere you look these days, you are seeing everybody talking about AI. AI this, AI that, AI this. But while everyone is talking about AI, you know what the crazy thing is? There are people who literally have no idea what is going on. The only thing they know about AI is, if I want to use Gemini to change the resolution of my image, if I want to use, someone said, despite copying the link, it's still not opening. Okay, let me try. I can open the link from here. So I think it probably just be your network. Exactly. Thanks for the number, Deborah. So you can reach out to the phone number that my colleague has shared in the chat section. Frank, I see that your hand has been up. I'm going to be taking questions after this. Don't worry. We're going to be wrapping up in a couple of minutes. So 1.6 million jobs are open right now, as against 518,000 people who are qualified. Now, like I said before, this window is not going to stay open forever. So quick question to the people on the call. Who is aware of Claude? Who knows Claude? If you know Claude, you can send a thumbs up. If you don't, you can send a thumbs down. Who knows Claude? Do we know Claude? Okay, we're seeing thumbs up. Thumbs up if you know Claude. Awesome, awesome, fantastic. All right. If you don't know Claude, you can send a thumbs down. Thumbs down if you don't know Claude. Okay, okay, no thumbs down. Oh, okay, we've seen one thumbs down. Oh, that's two. Interesting. Okay, some of us don't know Claude, but most of us know Claude. Fantastic. All right. Now, another question. Who knows Fable? Fable. Do we know Fable? If you know Fable, send a thumbs up. Do we know Fable? Fable 5. Fable, Fable. Who knows Fable? Okay. Okay, I'm seeing more thumbs down than I saw before. All right. Okay, more thumbs down. Interesting. All right. Now, this is why I said a lot of people know AI. People know, oh my gosh, there's so many things are happening. AI is fantastic, but people literally have no idea what is shifting, what is changing in the world of AI. So here's the gist, right? Fable is a new model that was released by Anthropic, which is a company that manages Claude. And the crazy thing about Fable is so incredibly smart that it's able to detect vulnerabilities in your website. In fact, it was one of the reasons why, that was the main reason why it was taken down, because Fable just recently came back to Claude. The model was taken off Claude because it posed a major security risk. So the company they had to pull it back, and that was it was enforced by the United States, and then they made sure they covered that loop before they brought it back in again. So now Fable is available and it's free for people to use until the 7th of July, I think, and then you now have to start paying for tokens. So why did I bring up Fable? I brought up Fable because so many people who are in the AI community are building fantastic things using Fable. At the moment, when you're looking at large language models, Fable is literally the smartest the world has ever seen. We're interacting with an AI that is on a completely different scale, unprecedented. But some people still think that AI is, hi, my girlfriend isn't talking to me. What do I do? Could you add this person in the back of my picture? Remove my mother there. I don't like the way she's smiling. AI has gone beyond that. It is changing the world. There are websites that you access today that was built entirely by AI. There are people who are now shipping apps to stores and they are building it with AI. There's this article that I read that spoke about how creation is no longer the barrier. Before, it used to be creation. So if I wanted to start a startup, if I wanted to start a business, I would have to get a back-end developer, a front-end developer, a UI designer, a product manager. Now I can build agents. And better still, I will use Fable, the new Claude model, to build my agents. And guess what? I now have 10 employees. I don't have to pay salaries. All I'm doing is I'm just paying for the tokens. So it's so crazy that creation is no longer the problem. Distribution is now the problem. Getting users who are going to pay for your product is now the problem. And the reason why I'm saying this is because while so many people are consumers, people are literally creating with AI. But the only thing that you know about AI is when you sit down and you're watching the watermelon videos. You know that stuff that was trending on Instagram, where they put the sad song and then you've got like Mr. Banana, you've got Mr. Watermelon, and everybody just consumes that. They watch the videos, they laugh. You are the product. You know what they say, that if you're not paying for it, if it's free of charge, you are the product. So you've basically turned yourself into a product, and people are cashing out and making millions with this thing. The only difference between you and them is knowledge. That is it. The only difference is knowledge. And this is exactly what employers are paying for. Employers are paying for people who can be super creative, who can come in and help them automate processes. When you do that, you are literally helping them make more money. And while you are helping them make more money, you are also saving them money as well, because what are you doing? You are basically collapsing time. You are making more money in less time using AI. And that is why you cannot ignore that the fact that AI is literally a force multiplier. 72% of employers cannot find the AI skills that they need. This is opportunity for you. AI roles are paying 67% more than traditional tech roles. So if you're a data analyst, if you don't know how to use AI, you're playing. If you're a business analyst, you don't know how to use AI, you are not serious yet. If you're a project manager, you don't know how to use AI in your workflow, you are joking. If you're a consultant, you don't know how to use AI in your workflows, you're not serious in the market, because people who know how to use it, they will replace you before you can blink. Now, on average, it takes 66 days to fill one AI role. That's way too long. That is way too long. So what this is telling you is that employers are looking for people who can fill these roles. But it's taking them so long. They have to set up 110 assessments before they can even find the right candidate, when every single person on this call could be exactly who they are looking for. Content creators, absolutely. So right now, we have insane AI tools like Higgsfield and others that you can use to create content. You can literally look like you just woke up. You can look messed up, your hair is a mess, your face is a mess, and you're just recording content, and your AI avatar looks clean, looks very set up, has a fantastic background, and is the one creating the content for you. Do you know that these days there are some influencers that you see online that are actually not real people? They are not real people. Like, you think that they are real people. There is actually a way for you to find those pages that are fake. When you go down, you start to see that, they are always in very exotic, luxurious places, and sometimes their faces, maybe their features might be inconsistent, but who cares about that? Because the people who actually matter, which means the consumers, they are consuming that content every day, and other people are making money, and you have no idea. So they are literally influencers now. They are creating so much content, and people will come to them and pay them and say, hey, I want to run ads because you've been able to get 50,000 followers, 100,000 followers, 200,000 followers. So AI is impacting every single industry in the world: construction, finance, business, commerce, and even content creation. You cannot ignore it. If you're serious about stepping up, you cannot ignore that. Now, let's look at what the trajectory of AI has been. I always like to establish this because when you look at how AI has grown over the years, it's super fantastic. Look at this. In 2022, ChatGPT launched, and for the first time in human history, my background is noisy. Is that true? Could you send the thumbs up if my background is okay? I think that noise might be from your end. Maybe you might want to drop up and try joining again. All right. Now, in 2022, ChatGPT launched. It's crazy, but stay with me. For the first time in human history, we hit 100 million users in 60 days for a product. It has never happened in the history of humanity. And I don't even think that it's something that can ever happen again. It was the first time it ever happened. And this is so significant because when you even look at the path of the growth trajectory of AI, in 2023, AI entered every major industry. I remember 2022 when ChatGPT first launched. As a matter of fact, in 2021, I was beta testing this AI product. It wasn't ChatGPT, but now I wonder if it was some variation of it. It was a large language model, and it was so interesting and trippy to me when I sent a message and the AI responded. It was very buggy, But then, next year we had ChatGPT. And in 2023, people began to use AI in their workflows. And this is very important because I'm trying to establish something here. It's how fast the world is changing. Now, by 2024, AI began to appear in African job listings and in job listings all over the world. So it was now no longer, you have to be a data analyst, you have to know how to use Power BI, you have to know how to use Tableau, you have to know how to use SQL. Nah, people were now saying you have to use all of that. And you also have to know how to use AI. So the requirements started to shift. In 2025, we saw AI skills overtake engineering as the number one shortage. Let me explain what this means to you. So when in 2022, when these large language models were being developed, if you're looking at all of these big giant companies like Meta, if you're looking at companies like Amazon and the rest of them, they don't like to be last. They don't like to carry last for anybody. So when the competition starts to move in a certain direction, there is now a frenzy in the market. Everybody was saying, oh my gosh, AI is going to be the biggest thing. The company who can take AI live first. It was a race. Meanwhile, the rest of us were just here, we're just scrolling TikTok, we're scrolling Instagram. We had no idea that race was actually happening. So what now happened was that the job markets began to shift. Engineers, engineers who were coding this, the large language model engineers, people who were training AI, people who were prompting AI, they began to earn insane salaries. The market completely exploded. They were in high demand. As a matter of fact, you'd see a case where Meta would pay an engineer, not because they need the engineer, but because they want to keep the engineer from going to the competition. That was how crazy it was. But then for the first time since that frenzy started, in 2025, we saw AI skills overtake engineering, large language model engineering, software engineering, engineering in general. We saw the skills overtake that as a number one shortage. What that now began to mean that these tools, they already exist. But how do you use them to improve our workflows? How do you use them to improve business workflows? How do you use them to save money? If you're able to collapse time and do things faster than you normally would, you have saved an hour, 2 hours, 1 week, 2 weeks, and that way you are making money faster. We began to see companies shift their entire operations and use AI. I'll give an example. How many people know Klarna? That's Klarna. How many people know Klarna on the call? If you know Klarna, you can send a thumbs up. Klarna, Klarna. It's a buy now, pay later. Okay? If you don't know Klarna, send a thumbs down. You're going to know Klarna today, don't worry. If you don't know Klarna, send a thumbs down. Okay, some people don't know Klarna. Let me tell you what Klarna does. So Klarna is buy now, pay later. And they are very popular in Europe. And at the time when Klarna launched, they were spending so much money on customer support. They also had a lot of unresolved customer support issues. So in 2023, when AI was entering the job industries and redefining workflows, they were like, okay, you know what? What if we use AI? So you know what they did? They built an agent. They built AI agents that could resolve customer complaints. So before, and I'm sure that you've also noticed this, now when you go on some sites, you don't even talk to a human being anymore. You're not talking to an AI. But they built there so intelligently that it was able to resolve issues. So it would resolve issues and escalate only the important ones to the humans. So what they were able to do with that workflow was they cut out a lot of expenses. So where they were spending so much money hiring customer support agents before, they changed the entire process and then they replaced them with people who actually understand how to use automation. That was one. Number two, because they were not relying on humans to close out every ticket again, it was happening automatically. At the same time, the AI agents were at work 24/7. They were at work in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening. It meant that their resolution rates went up. And when their resolution rates went up, what happened? Customer satisfaction went up. And when your customers are happy, what happens? You make more money. And this was how they were able to hit billions of dollars in revenue. This is an example of how companies can use AI to redefine workflows to become more profitable. And it's why businesses are never going to stop looking for people who understand how to use AI in their workflows, because everybody wants to make money. Now, in 2026, what we are seeing is that we are standing at an inflection point. What this means is, if you want to get into AI, this is the best time for you to get into it. I cannot stress enough. In the last couple of years, in such a short time, AI has completely changed the world. If you're going to be here in the next 1 year, in the next 2 years, in the next 3 years, you're going to realize that if you don't start to upskill right now, by the time the next 1, 2, 3 years comes along, not only would the demand for this now be normal, it's now normal. You know what happens when it's normal? The salary drops, the opportunities drop. Now it's not a every before you can even look for a job, you have to understand how to use AI. Little kids, the Gen Zs, the Gen Alphas specifically, on that they're literally growing up using AI. So in the next couple of years, it's going to be the norm. It's not going to be special anymore. So what that means is everybody will now be expecting that. And once that happens, the opportunities here, they significantly drop. So if this is something that we cannot avoid, how do we ensure that the wave doesn't wash us away? How do we instead ride the wave? I want you to look at this. The Industrial Revolution, which is when humanity as a whole began to shift to machinery. We began to use trains, we began to use cars, we began to use bikes, we began to move, we began to adopt machine in everyday lives. It took 80 years to reshape work. Adoption was slow. It was technology, it was convenient, it was fantastic, but the adoption was slow. AI is doing the same thing in 5 years. It's crazy. So what that means is that you cannot spend the next 1, 2, 3 years saying, I'm upskilling. It's a lie. You have to upskill, and you have to upskill quickly so that you can respond to the market that is changing faster than you can blink. Now, I want to really emphasize the gap between people who are skilled in AI and those who are not skilled in AI. And keep in mind that this is a gap that is widening, it's growing every single month. Without AI skills, if you're in Nigeria, you're probably going to be earning 120,000, 400,000. That's the typical range. You get lucky, maybe you're hitting 600, 700. Now, without AI skills, or with AI skills rather, you start at 1.5 to 5,000. And what I always tell people is, you are the one who gets to define what your worth is in the markets. Sometimes I think that no matter how much you earn in Nigeria, if you're earning 500, 600,000, inflation will eat it up. But when you have AI skills and you can ship your skills outside of the borders of your country, or you can decide, hey, I want to relocate, and because you literally have the skills that are in high demand, it is possible for you to do that. You can charge what you want, and it's all about your packaging. Where someone will go and charge $4,000, you go there, you are charging $6,000. And that's because you are able to package yourself up until that point. When you're looking at visa opportunities like tech talent visas, why do you think they exist? They exist because these countries understand that if you have the talent, if you have the skills, you can completely reshape industries with the ideas that you develop there. But a lot of people do not think that they need to build those skills before they even think about leaving. And if you're not thinking about, oh, I want to travel or whatever, your skills, your talent are still important, because if you stay in this raid, in this raid on the left side, which is without AI skills, you have basically capped your earning. There is a ceiling that you hit, and you cannot go beyond that ceiling. Now, without AI skills, you are limited to the local job market. So you can only apply for the local job markets, the ones that are within your country. Maybe you get referred, but you're not standing out. You're not doing anything amazing because every single month, the market is getting more and more competitive. So with AI skills, you position yourself for global opportunities and global employer access. I just gave you an example. I mentioned Fable. It's shocking the number of people on the call who knew Claude but don't know Fable. Fable it's the talk of the AI community right now. It's completely changed the way people work. The things that Sonnet can do, the things that Opus that we thought was the smartest model ever, the things that it can do is a joke in comparison to what Fable can do. But a lot of people don't know about this. And we clearly demonstrated this. This is how opportunities come and go, and you have no idea. Meanwhile, the people who already had that information, they've gotten on the train, they have moved, but you are still far behind, thinking that, oh, I'm going to ask Gemini, update, clean up my picture, change my resolution, increase it, make me finer, puts me in a red dress. But AI is changing the way the world works, and you don't know that because you are the product. Now, without AI skills, you are doing manual, repetitive workflows. You keep on doing it over and over again, just the same thing over and over again. With AI, you are able to automate boring stuff. I call it boring stuff. Look, I would automate my life if I could. When I say my life, I would automate like my sleeping and my waking up, because it's just so much fun to automate everything. And you just find that you have so much time to do other stuff when you automate other things. Rabi is asking, are there going to be certificates after this program? I'm going to talk on that, but absolutely, yes, there is a certificate after the program, so you don't have to worry about that. But this is not about a certificate. And by the way, we're also accredited in the US and in the UK and also in Nigeria. But this is not about a certificate. We always preach competence over credentials. What that means is that the market does not care. These days, nobody cares if you're a Harvard graduate. Nobody cares if you're coming from Stanford. Nobody cares. The only thing that people care about? Now, okay, you know what? Let me throw this question to the house. You are a business owner. You own a business. Now, there are two candidates. There's candidate A, and then there's candidate B. Candidate A just graduated from Harvard. Candidate A has graduated with flying colors, fantastic. No work experience yet, but there is a lot of potential. Now there is candidate B. Candidate B went to one small school, maybe went to a small school in Nigeria, maybe went to Unilag or something, and candidate B has worked for maybe 3-4 years. Candidate B also has a lot. When you look at candidate B portfolio, you can see that candidate B has worked on different projects. Not only has candidate B done that, but candidate B understands how to use AI, how to use Claude, how to use ChatGPT, how to automate workflows. Candidate B can build agents. But the only difference is that candidate B does not have these Harvard certificates. As a business owner, if you're looking for someone to hire, who would you go for? Would you go for candidate A or would you go for candidate B? I'm throwing this to the house. If you're going to go for candidate A, why? Okay, Cyril Z said candidate B. Who else? Will you go for candidate A or would you go for candidate B? Remember, I just gave us an example. Candidate A has certificate Harvard. Okay. Edidio said candidate B. Emmanuel said candidate B. Augustine said candidate B. All right, everyone said candidate. You know why? Because the only thing the market cares about is your experience. The only thing the market cares about is your competence. Your Harvard certificate is not going to do anything for my business. As a business owner, I don't care about your Harvard certificate. When I'm interviewing people, to be honest, I never even look at their degrees. I never look at what certificates they have. The only thing I care about is what they can do for me, because I have I have targets to hit. I have revenue targets, and I'm saying, how can your skills help me make money? And every single employer that you talk to, that is what they care about. They don't care about how passionate you are. They don't care about how empathetic you are. The only thing they care about is your skills. Okay, in Nigeria, in all you see, you have the certificate. Yes, but we're talking about opportunities that break barriers, opportunities that break borders. And the global job market is nothing like Nigeria. Keep that in mind. Now, if you don't have AI skills, you are competing with hundreds of CVs. Oh my gosh. I mean, this community on Reddit, and I think it's called Recruiters Hell or something, but it's for people who are looking for jobs, and they share the funniest stories. One time someone came there and said, oh my god, I literally just applied to this job. Tell me how I just got rejected. How did I apply to a job right now? As soon as I hit apply, a rejection email was sent immediately. It's almost like nobody read my application. That's correct. Nobody did. That is also something else that is being automated. It's called the applicant tracking system. It's being automated as well. So this means that if your resume doesn't have a differentiated profile, if your resume is not readable, if it's not quality, it's not even going to get past AI. So if it doesn't get past AI, it will never get to the table of a real person. A lot of people don't know this. In fact, some people will even say things like, do I have to customize my resume every single time I apply for a job? What kind of work is that? You can literally use AI to do this, but not in a way that is very obvious, because trust me, if AI just comes in there and rewrites your resume and does a lot of nonsense, and you download it and you go and upload it, that is how fast the ATS will spit it out. Because the human also is very important in that process. You have to edit it, you have to audit it. I always say edit and audit your results. So if you want to stand out in the job market, how exactly can you use AI to not only build a differentiated profile, but to become in demand? Now, another thing is your salary ceiling, it hits fast. Remember, we spoke about this. You're not growing, you're not learning. And right now, what is hot? Everybody is learning AI. And if you have a knowledge gap, you have no idea what is happening, what is changing in the world of AI, you are at a disadvantage. If you don't know what is changing, you're at a disadvantage. So you think, you know what? I'm a construction worker. Why do I have to learn AI? I'm an accountant. Why do I have to learn AI? AI is completely changing these industries. We have new tools, new workflows that are coming out in these industries. They're changing. So I'm a hairdresser. Why do I have to learn? I'm a this, I'm a that. In every industry, we're starting to see the power of AI. It's complete. Even hairdressers. I was reading an article that was talking about how hairdressers now are starting to use AI in their workflows. So they develop apps, and it's actually people who are skilled in AI and who know how to build apps, who know how to vibe code. They're not developers, they're the ones building this for them and just giving it to them. So I don't even have to spend the time building this. They're developing apps that people can come to, and they can upload this. So if I want to come to a salon, right? Maybe I'm a girl, I'm a lady, or I'm a guy. I want to get a new haircut, but I don't know what it's going to look like on me. So they go to the app and they just go there, upload their picture, and they try on different hairstyles. And then they book the appointment and they walk in. It's crazy. It seems like it's very simple, very obvious, but in small ways, AI is changing industry. So we cannot ignore it. This is how you earn more, because you are getting better, you are learning how to apply AI to your workflows. It's how you hit between 3 times to 10x your income trajectory and above. But if you are not within this bracket, this green area, if you are here, your salary is going to hit a ceiling and it's going to stay there for some time. So one thing I also want to establish is I think I've touched on this slightly. A lot of jobs are being erased. A lot of jobs are being erased. But you know, the crazy part is that while we have 92 million jobs that will be displaced by 2030, we also have 170 million new roles that are emerging. So because 92 million jobs are being erased, 170 million new roles are emerging. So who can guess what are these 170 million? What are these job opportunities about? It is for people who understand how to use AI. So when a business can grow, when a business is scaling, when it's growing, it needs more people. If I don't need people to do all of the human stuff, if my business is so efficient that I've automated my workflows, if I'm expanding, it means that I can get in more people who, not just normal people who know how to use only traditional tech tools, but people who actually know how to use AI. So we can keep on optimizing my business so my business can keep on growing. So I cannot emphasize this enough when I say that if you don't know how to use AI, you are at a serious disadvantage. For example, data entry and filing. You know, the data entry and filing, people are literally replacing that right now with AI automation specialists. You just dump all of the rough data, maybe in a spreadsheet or something. They design a pipeline that can clean the data, that can file the data, enter it into the right spots, produce a dashboard, interpret the data, give you the insights, and a human being did not have to do a single thing in that workflow. Imagine if you had to use 3 data entry specialists to do that before. Now, all you need is just one model that's doing its job the way it's supposed to. Basic accounting, this is being replaced by AI data analysts. So I understand accounting workflows. How can I use AI to become a force multiplier? People are literally replacing this right now with AI data analysts. Administrative tasks, business analysts. What are those things that you do every day, repeatedly, on a loop, over and over and over again? It takes you 3 hours in a day. By the next day, in 48 hours, you spend 6 hours. When you add the next day, in 72 hours, you spent 9 hours. That's 9 hours of time that you could have put back into your business and used to make money. How do we automate that and put it on a loop so you never have to touch another button again for that to work? As I'm speaking to you, I have some systems I have designed, and they are literally generating reports for me. I don't have to go look at it. And this is why it's important that you know how to use AI. Report generation, AI content strategy, standard customer service, AI project management. People are replacing traditional workflows using AI. Now, in the last couple of years, we've had over 327 new AI job categories that have been created. We're looking at roles like AI data analysts, like business analysts, automation specialists, project management, content strategies, HR analytics. Now, if you were here at the start of this meeting, I said something very important. Our USP in Tenalytics is you getting a job. How do you get a job? How do we ensure that that is possible? It's by giving you what we call employability skills. That is one. And then number 2, also upskilling you in career paths that we know are high demand. So that means that if we want to ensure that you have the best opportunity in the job market, we also have to ensure that the career path that we're directing you to is the best in the job market. And that is exactly why you see these offerings that I have right now on my screen. Because if you're serious about leveling up, what I have right now as the band, this is just approximately. You can earn more than this. You can be a project manager and you're earning 6K. You can be an AI, you can be an automation specialist, and you're earning 10K. It depends on you. You can decide to build an AI agency. You've got lots of AI agents working for you. You never have to do any of the work yourself. You've basically put your earning on a loop. How about you start to create these contents that you consume, these AI content, and you're making that money for yourself? Just keep that in mind. Amechi, I'm going to get to you in a minute. I see that your hand is up. All right, so I want to show us something. If you've been in a previous masterclass, when I built this, then you certainly would have seen me build this. If you have not, don't worry about it. I'm going to be demonstrating how you can build something really cool today. Interesting. 1 minute. I'm going to demonstrate how you can build a really cool tool today. You can use this to, let's say you have your resume. You can use this tool to run your resume and say, what are the vulnerabilities I have right now? What are the opportunities that exist right now in my role? What AI and automation opportunities exist, and how can I take advantage of that? For example, if you're a customer support agent, maybe your last role was as a help desk specialist. How can you tell what the next path for you should be? How can you tell, should I go for data analysis? Should I go for business analysis? What is the best part for me? So this tool helps you break down that. It makes the choice very easy for you because you can see which one is the right fit. I'm going to share my screen. Just give me 1 minute, and then I'm going to run it. Now, for those of you who already know how to use Claude, fantastic. I'm going to need you to go to Claude for this. Now, this is another reason why I mentioned that you should fill out the form that my colleagues are dropping in the chat section, put in your name and your email, just in case you drop off at any point so you can have access to this. I'm just going to quickly show you this. I'm going to share my full screen so you can see this. 1 minute. All right. So this is the prompt doc. I'm going to be sharing this prompt doc with the people on the call. So I'm just going to come to my app here, and then I'm going to paste this. So I already have everything that I need in here. I already have, I have the prompt, which is based on the resume and target to analyze how blah, 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 blah. And then I've told it to build a tool for me using the provided code. Here, I have a bunch of code that I've provided. Now, what are we building? We're building a tool that we can use to say, hey, what is the next step for me? So you've been listening to me speak. I've been talking about all of these opportunities, but how do you know what the next step for you is? I've been trying to know the action point. Don't worry, we're getting to that very soon. So real quick, just if you have a Claude account, you don't have to use the smartest model. Actually, you can just come here and you can use you can just use Sonnet. So you can come down to Sonnet. You can use this is Sonnet 5 right now. I like to use Sonnet 4.6 because it gets the job done just as easy. And that's it. So I'm going to let it run right now. It's very simple. So fill out the attendance form so you can gain access to this code. Okay, and you can build something like this in your Claude. Now, while this is running, does anyone on the call want to share their resume? I can use your resume to test this out if you share your resume with me. If you want to share your resume, you can put a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up if you'd like to share your resume. Okay. Okay, we have Manuel. Okay, a lot of hands have gone up. Okay. Okay, cool. All right, cool. So I'm going to share my email. So this is my email, lola@10analytics.org. Okay, so just go to your resume and share this with me. Don't worry about it. If I cannot do yours, don't worry about it. I'm going to be sharing this prompt with you, and it's very easy what I'm doing right now. You can't see the screen. If you can see my screen, please send a thumbs up. Send a thumbs up if you can see my screen. Okay, so I think that might be your network if you can't see my screen. So turning, you probably might want to drop off and join again. All right, so you go to your Claude, very simple. When you go to Claude, remember there is what we call tokens on Claude. So you want to make sure you're not burning your tokens. Just use Sonnet 4.6, and then you can set it to high. That's all you need. Set the effort to high. That's all you need. You don't have to set it to max. You don't need all of that. Just use Sonnet 4.6, and then you can set it to max. All right, so we've run this code, and when you get this document, you're going to see this. You're also going to see this. Everything, this is all you need. You can actually just download this document, and you can paste it here. All right, so please start sharing your resumes with me, because once I'm done with this, I'm going to be coming here. All right, so this is what Claude has built for us. It's called the pipeline scan. Okay, so it's built a pipeline scan for us. Now, in this pipeline scan, notice a couple of things. Number one, we have the section where you paste the resume. So I can come here and I can paste the resume here. I can say, this is the target role I am looking for. And then it's going to scan and look for real roles. So basically, it's looking out, it's checking the entire internet to say what kind of jobs would be a good fit for this person. And it's pulling those jobs into my atmosphere. Now, another thing it's also going to do is it's going to map your AI exposure as well. So what this means is it's going to say, hey, based off where you are at right now, this is, and based off your career path, this is what you need to learn in order for you to become competitive in the market. All right, so if you've shared your resume with me, send me a thumbs up. If you've shared your resume, send me a thumbs up. Okay, so it looks like we've got a lot of resumes. Okay, 1 minute. So let's go fetch the resume then. I'm going to go to my mail now and check for the resume. I'm just going to pick out a few. Okay, I can see 3 here. All right, I'm going to select Kolawole. Okay, I see Kolawole, Shei, Akin, Somi. Could you send me a thumbs up if you're on the call? Kolawole, fantastic. All right, let me show what your resume looks like. So this is Kolawole's resume. Okay, fantastic resume. So I'm going to come here. I'm going to copy everything that he has here. Let's copy it from the start all the way to the bottom. A Word version would have been better, but this still works. Okay, this might be tricky. Let me just start from here and copy. All right, so I've copied his resume. I'm going to go and paste that in Claude. I'm going to come down here because I wasn't able to copy the entire thing. I'm going to copy this. Okay, so another thing, yeah, is a lot of times you have to keep in mind that when you are using ATS, which is why it's important that you use these tools, because of ATS, it can be incredibly hard for AI to read your resume. You want to make it very easy. Even just the fact that I'm trying to copy and it's difficult in some areas might also be a blocking. Okay, I think we've got this. Fantastic. All right. Let me show us what that looks like. 1 minute. So this is Kolawole's resume. And from Kolawole's resume, I can tell that Kolawole is a technical support specialist. Okay, so let's say that what Kolawole is currently targeting is technical support specialist. Let's say that that's his target role. I'm going to put that here. So technical support specialist. Let's run a recruiter scan. And remember, we literally just built this tool inside of this is ChatGPT. We just built this tool. This is Claude rather. We just built this tool in here. Okay, our tool is failing. Why is it failing? Okay. 1 minute. Let's do a restart. This is not supposed to fail. Okay, so sometimes it might have some issues, but remember, because this is not the system that we built, we can't necessarily debug it. So this is where prompt engineering comes in. So you have to have a conversation with AI to say, hey, I'm trying to blah, 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 blah. So I'm just going to pause just so I can check out what's going on here. I need to probably restart my Claude. So I'm going to close that and restart it so we can do the process again. Just give me a minute. Okay. 1 minute. I'm restarting. I can only do this with one more resume after color. So if you'd like me to test this out with your resume, you can also start sharing that. Okay, so it's open. Fantastic. All right. I'm going to share again in a minute. Let me just confirm that everything works fine. Okay. Okay, fantastic. So this works fine. Okay, I'm pasting his resume again, and then I'm going to run the recruiter scan again. 1 minute. Okay. 1 minute. It keeps on failing. That's kind of odd. Okay. All right, fantastic. I think it's working now. All right. You can't see my screen. I'm sharing my screen again. Okay, so this is it. I'm going to come here. I'm going to paste it. So this is Kolawole's resume. And then I'm going to copy technical support specialist. I'm going to copy this and paste this here. And then we run the recruiter scan. So now it's working. We're running the scan. And this is what we have. The first thing you want to notice here is we have a recruiter analysis, which is 78 over 100 match score. So what this is saying is, I want to pray which application are you using right now. So this is Claude. This is Claude, okay? So the first thing that we've done is we have built a pipeline scan in here, and we are using Kolawole's resume to test this out. So we've pasted his resume, we've put in the targets role, and it's technical support specialist, and then we've run a recruiter scan. So we can actually scan for live roles. The result that we're seeing now, it's saying 78%, 78 over 100 match score. Now, the best fits that it has in the market is things like help desk supervisor, IT support analyst, IT operation analyst, and all of that. Now, it's also mapped out the keywords that are missing from his resume, things like VPN troubleshooting, escalation management, network configuration, ServiceNow, and others. Then it also flagged the various things that a recruiter would be looking out for if they check out his resume. What are the things that a recruiter will be looking out for if they check out his resume? First of all, no measurable uptime or SLA compliance percentage. So if you're in this field, you have to have, I was able to keep up XXX uptime by 2% or by 4% or whatever. I was able to improve SLA compliance by XXX. No enterprise level or multinational client experience shown. So it's saying that his experience is concentrated in one area alone. So he's not diverse enough. What is already working right now is over 6 years of progressive technical support with qualified wins. And then he also has supervisor level experience, which adds leadership credibility. So this means that he can actually go for roles that have leadership there. Now, another thing I just did here is I want to see, what does AI want from this role? So since, let's say this is my resume, my question is, what is AI looking for in this role? So now what the system that we've built is going to do is it's going to search based off his career trajectory. How can he stay competitive in the market? So what does he have to learn in order for him to remain employable? Now, what it's already saying right now, look, if you look here, we have tasks AI already handles. The first one is tickets triage, initial responses to common hardware and software support requests. If you're on the call, I spoke about Klarna, and I spoke about how Klarna were able to completely automate their customer support system. So this is when you can build a database. So questions people ask over and over again, you can literally just train AI to answer those questions. And that's exactly what it's saying here. Maintaining and querying the knowledge base for self-service resolution, password reset, software access provision. It's basically saying that all of this here is being automated by AI already. Now, how can Kolawole stay competitive? What automation does he have to learn? First one is configuring AI-powered ticket routing and SLA workflows inside platforms like Zendesk or Freshdesk. He has to learn tools like Zendesk AI. He has to learn tools like Freshdesk Freddy AI. He has to learn tools like ServiceNow. And you can see that the tools that he has to learn is literally listed for him. N8N, Zapier, Make.com, and others. So it's not a vague, go and learn how to use AI, for example. This is telling you, if you don't know how to use these AI tools, you are literally pricing yourself out of the market. All right. So does anyone else want me to run this test using their resume? You can send a thumbs up. I can do one more. Okay. Okay. Stanley sent a thumbs up. I think we have Stanley's resume. Okay. So let me try this using Stanley's resume. I'm just going to have to share. Let me share something else. I don't want to share my entire, I don't want to share the entire doc, my entire inbox for everyone. Okay, I see that I have some more emails here. So let me see. I'm gonna go for okay, Stanley. Stanley was actually one of the first people who sent in his resume. Let's come back now. I'm gonna share Stanley's resume. So this is Stanley's resume. This is what it looks like. Okay, so let's copy that. I'm gonna copy Stanley's resume, and Stanley, you need 10 analytics. Trust me when I tell you that. You need 10 analytics. So we're going to go back to the tool that we've developed. Let's go back to the tool that we've developed. So this is the tool. Okay, so you're going to come here, back to resume and targets row. We're going to delete the format entry. And then if we look at what Stanley does at the moment, he's a software developer. So we're just going to say software developer, right? Okay, and then we're going to run a recruiter scan. So the first thing it's going to do is look at his resume from the lens of a recruiter. And you can see here that Stanley's resume already has a very low score, which is 42 over 100. Then we now have the best fit titles for Stanley: junior front-end developer, junior full stack. So he's saying that these are the jobs that Stanley should be applying for. But then Stanley's resume was also scanned, and these are keywords that are missing: unit testing, agile methodology, technical documentation, microservices. So if an ATS was looking at Stanley's profile, it would basically flag that he doesn't have any of this. There's no formal degree section, so that would be a flag if a recruiter was looking at it. And then there's no measurable impact metrics anywhere on the screen. So what this means is, usually the way you need to write your resume is, I improved X by X%. I was able to drive X by X%. So that's where you are calculating and showing measurable impact. And that's one thing that's missing from Stanley's resumes. Now let's look at what opportunities can Stanley go for. If Stanley wants to step up today and say, hey, I want to become AI conscious, I want to be AI ready, I want to upskill, I want to do what I do better, and I want to use AI for that. What opportunities can Stanley look into the market for? So first of all, you can see here that Stanley is being recommended a completely different stack from what Kolawole was recommended. He's being recommended GitHub Copilot, Cursor, Claude Code, and by the way, we're in Claude. He's being recommended Ada, Amazon Q Developer, Mintlify. So all of these tools, it's saying he has to learn how to use these tools so that he can become competitive. Now, imagine you are a developer today and you don't have Claude Code in your profile. People, you're applying for jobs as a developer and you don't have Claude Code when people are doing fantastic things. So this is how you stay competitive. If you want to gain access to the doc I used for this, to the prompts, oh, I'm so sorry, Emmanuel, I wish I could do yours, but we don't have a lot of time. We have to start wrapping up now. But you know what I'm going to do for you? I already have the, oops, I stopped sharing my screen. We know what I'm going to do for you. We have the doc already. So what I'm going to do is for everyone who fills out the attendance form, fill out the attendance form that my colleagues are dropping in the chat section. You can build this by yourself, don't worry. And then you can also watch the recording of this video to see how I did it, just in case you forgot. So all you're doing is just copying that prompt, you're putting it in Claude, and you're recreating the steps. Don't worry, it will work. So we've just seen how you can use AI to scan your resume and then to map out your AI vulnerabilities and to say, hey, what is the next step for me? If I were having a career consultation with Kolawole, with Stanley, I would say you need to learn AI automation. For Stanley, I would say Stanley should go for vibe coding. For Kolawole, I would say AI automation. For Stanley, I would say AI in software development. But this shows you how you need AI in your workflows and what recruiters are actually looking out for. I'm going to be taking questions very soon. Okay, so remember, we just established right now, AI skills is what we would call scarcity premium. It's scarcity premium. Imagine if you have Claude Code on your website today and you are applying for jobs. Which company would not want to hire you? So long as you can prove that you've done fantastic things using it. Companies will say, who is this person? We want to talk to this person. We want to see what this person can do. But between 2027 to 2029, what's going to start happening is that premium starts to compress. The market starts to fill up. It starts to become a normal thing. And by 2030, AI skills become baseline. It's no longer a differentiating factor. So you have to act quickly. Quick story here. I want you to meet someone. His name is Frank. So Frank joined the Generative AI for Data Analyst program in November 2025. That was our program, by the way. And he completed his program in February 2026. Frank got a job with a UK-based company in June 2026. But you know what makes Frank's story truly remarkable? You know what makes his story truly remarkable? Is the fact that Frank was in Nigeria when he got this job. So Frank did not have to leave his country. Frank did not have to travel to the UK to get this job. Frank just shipped his skills outside of Nigeria. He joined our Generative AI for Data Analyst program in November 2025. And by the way, he was a fresh graduate. He was serving in Rivers State and he had a background in education. So it's not like he had been working for quite some time and he had built experience. No, he was fresh out of the box. He was just serving, and he came in, took a program with analytics business. And in June 2026, he landed his first role with a UK-based company. Okay, and he started working as a data survey officer and analyst. But Frank's story is not the only one I'm going to share with you today. I'm going to share another story with you. That's Olusegun. Olusegun was also in Nigeria, and he got a remote job in Canada the same month he completed his program. Because some people will say, but for Frank, it took a couple of months for him to get, because everybody's time is different. The way they apply for jobs is different. The way they customize their resumes is different. The strategy is different, but the result was the same. Olusegun got a job in Canada while he was in Nigeria within the same month. So he had a background in operations and finance, and he joined the AI automation engineering program. And by January 2026, he landed a fully remote job with a company in Canada as an AI automation engineer. And then he went out to set up his own consultancy in April 2026. Now, I want to show you how he was able to achieve this. Okay, so what was the path that he took to recreate it? Because I believe in something that you don't have to recreate the wheel. First of all, how did he gain foreign work experience? He gains foreign work experience through learning in class. So one thing that you do in analytics business is that while you are learning, you are also building as well. And what are you building? You are building your portfolio. So while we are teaching you in class, the projects we are giving you, you are using that to build your portfolio. Your portfolio is what you present to employers to show that you know how to do the job. It is evidence of your capability, of your capacity to do the job. That was one way. So he had a portfolio that he could present. Now, how was he applying to jobs? He was applying to jobs on Outlier. So if you're in Nigeria, you can't use this anymore. But if you're outside of Nigeria, you still have access to this. He was using remote rocket ship, UK visa jobs, built in. He had access to, and there's so many, like you can use job boards like Himalayas. You can use job boards like remote.co, and you can also build a tool right now in Claude and in ChatGPT that pulls all of these jobs into your atmosphere from LinkedIn, from Indeed, from their careers page, so you don't even have to go and look for these jobs by yourself. I wrote a code for this, so make sure that you fill out the form that my colleagues are dropping in the chat section so that you have access to this. Now, another thing is that when it was time for a referral, he was able to get a referral. So when they called, they were like, oh, could you speak to his skills? What has he done? Yada, yada. We were able to speak about his skills to the heavens and back again. So that's why I said that we offer full suit employability. So it goes beyond, oh, I want to get a brand new tech skill. It's about how do you make me employable? And that includes a lot of things like the way you interview, that is your interview prep, the CV that you use, the quality of that, your LinkedIn, the way you present yourself, the way you package yourself, the way you apply to jobs, the job boards that you have access to. So it's all designed to make you employable. Now, one myth I want you to erase in your mind is you don't have to have a technical degree. You don't have to know how to code, and it doesn't matter if you're old. It doesn't matter if you're 13. It doesn't matter if you're 14. It doesn't matter if you are 16. It doesn't matter if you are 60. AI has no enemy, it has no friends. The only thing it recognizes is skill. The youngest person who has come in and who has gotten a job in analytics is Christian. Christian was, I believe he was 16 when he joined our program, and he got a job after a couple of months. And then, so it goes a long way to show that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you are young. It doesn't matter if you're old. When it comes to value, it is about what you can bring to the table. Now, there's so many success stories I can walk you through from people like Pavel. Pavel completed our data analytics program. He applied to multiple jobs, and he landed a job as a healthcare data analyst in Arizona barely 3 months after completing his program. We also have Bukola as well. Bukola joined our business analysis program, and she landed multiple interviews, but not just that. Bukola got her first job as a business analyst, then she got another job again as a data business analyst in July 2025. So she didn't get one offer, she got 2 different offers. Now, let's talk about the tracks that you can start, because I've said so much, but how can you get started? So we have different tracks that you can take. First of all, we have the generative AI for data analysis. We have generative AI for business analysis. And then we also have generative AI for HR analytics. So you can take any of these tracks, and as you can see, the tools that you are learning are different. Depending on the track that you are taking, the tools that you are learning are different because it is customized for you. Now, we also have generative AI for automation engineering. We have generative AI for video creation, and then we have generative AI for software development. Now, when it comes to how your learning happens, on Saturdays, you have your live class. Your live class happens between 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. It happens West African time. And then you have your self-paced watch me do it videos that you can access, you can watch for the rest of the week. But you come into your classes on Saturday between 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Now, what is a learning timeline? Your total learning timeline is 8 weeks, but it's broken down into 6 weeks of learning in class and then 2 weeks taking your capstone project. But by the time you are done with either of these tracks, you are going to be an expert. But it goes beyond that, because remember, it's making you employable. You are going to be learning the foundations of whatever track it is you're going for. So if it's data analysis, you're going to be learning how you can use AI as a force multiplier. You are going to be building the core skills. You are going to start developing projects that go into your portfolio. And then within your first week, all the way until the 8th week, you can basically launch your career in AI, because by then you would have become a full stack AI specialist, because you'll understand how to use AI to move workflows much faster and to compress time. Now, keep in mind that you have access to live sessions, you have access to recorded replays. So what this means is that if you miss a class on Saturday, the class is also recorded. So you can come back and you can watch the class. And then you are also developing projects while you are learning. And I think the best part of this is that you also have access to a peer community as well. So you are also learning from people who are learning. You have access to grow together. And one of the best ways to learn is through community. And of course, you have access to mentors. So we have mentorship sessions. In mentorship sessions, you see people like Olusegun, you see people like Pavel, you see people like Bukola, who have gotten jobs, who were exactly where you are right now, who were asking themselves the same question that you are asking themselves. But the only difference is that they were able to move past that fear and get the results that they needed. You would be able to speak to people like that, to see things from their perspective and see how you can get better. Okay, so what does this investment cost? Because I know that a couple of people have been waiting for me to get here. So first of all, the regular price for this is 250,000, but it is discounted at 150,000. But wait. Wait. So we have a payment plan. You can pay in tranches. If you say, you know what, I'm not sure this is the best thing for me right now, Lola. Honestly, I don't know if I want to go for this. You can break down your payment into 50,000, and then you decide when you come in, when your cohort gets started, you decide based off what you are learning if it's the right fit for you. The next cohort is starting on the 1st of August. On the 1st of August. So today is the 4th of July. Our cohorts typically happen every month, and we already have a new cohort that has started today. But if you would like to get started with that cohort, we call that a late registration. So if you would like to join the cohort that has just started, absolutely you can do that. Now, the way the payment works is that the regular price, like I mentioned, is 250,000, and the webinar price right now on this call is 150,000. If you decide I want to secure my spot, but I don't want to pay in full, you can pay 50,000 as a deposit, and then you pay the rest over the next couple of months. But if you want to join the cohort that just started today, I'm going to be giving that to you exclusively on this call at 100,000 flat payment. So you pay 100,000 for late registration, and you can actually get started with the cohorts that launched today. So that means that instead of waiting until the next cohort opens, which is going to be on the 1st of August, you can actually get started as early as tomorrow. You can join your cohort and you can get started. However, this offer is only open for the people who make payments between now to 12 a.m. West African time. Now, I want you to keep in mind the things that you are getting in this program. Number one, you are getting an 8 weeks intensive AI program, 8 weeks intensive AI program. You are also getting portfolio development support. You are getting hands-on real work projects, so which means that as you are learning, you are building your project. You are also going to get professional job references. So this means you come into Analytics, you're part of our network, you need us to reference you, you've got a job in the US, maybe in the UK, in Canada, and you need us to provide reference for you. You can always reach out to Analytics, and you don't even have to be in the program. It can be 3 months, it can be 4 months, 5 months, a year later, you can still come back to us and we will provide you with the reference. LinkedIn profile optimization. We're going to be teaching you how you can optimize your LinkedIn profile so it can become a magnet for recruiters. Mentorship sessions. I already spoke about this as well. Then you also have the CV revamping. So we're going to be helping you revamp your resume to ensure that it can pass ATS filters. You also have lifetime alumni community access. I don't think that you can make it without community. Community is very important because you have like-minded people who are there, who are all trying to get better and learn how they can use AI in their workflows. And you are going to be gaining access to this community. Now, in my opinion, one of the best parts is the interview preparation coaching. So what this means is that you're applying for jobs. If you have 2, 3, 4, 1,000 job interviews, you can always come back to us and we will prep you for those interviews. One of the things that kills interviews quickly is when you can't answer simple questions like tell me about yourself, or you have no idea how to prepare yourself for excellence. If you can't do that, you're not going to win. So it's very important that you gain access to this. You've been emphasizing on USA, UK foreign jobs. Are you saying you can only get AI job? No. That's not what I'm saying, Babatunde. That's not what I'm saying. You can absolutely get jobs anywhere. You can get AI jobs in Nigeria. You can get, we're an AI company. We hire AI specialists, we're active in the US, we're active in the UK, in Canada, and also in Nigeria as well. So you can absolutely get AI jobs in Nigeria. There are lots of companies right now, startups, that are hiring for people who are AI experts. However, the reason why I emphasize on global opportunities is because you typically get higher bands over there. So if you get a job in the US, if you get a job in Canada, and maybe it's like AI automation specialist, for example, and you get the same job offer in your home country, Nigeria, chances are that what you're getting paid, in Canada, for example, is way more than what you're earning in Nigeria. It's just the reality of the market, which is why we typically emphasize that, because if you already have the skills, then the only thing you need is the ability to market your skills in those markets. So why don't you just ship your skills? But you can absolutely get a job in Nigeria or in whatever country it is that you're at. So this is not, the main thing is just have the talent. Okay. Someone is asking in the chat, she said, can the 100K payment periods be extended for 24 hours? Irene, I wish it could be, but it's for late registration for the cohort that just started today. So the payment has to be made before 12. It's the only way it would work. Someone is saying, please speak on the AI content video creation career possibilities. Okay, fantastic. I'm going to do that. So just give me a minute. So one thing as well is that if you also want to have a one-on-one with me, you also have to make payment today. So you can make payment and then you can text the number that my colleagues are also going to be dropping in the chat section as well. And you can say, I would like to have a one-on-one with Lola, but this is only exclusive to the people who make payments today. Now, we also offer, okay, we have the phone number here. So thank you for that, Deborah. So she's dropping, you can't click on it, copy and paste to your browser or send a DM to, so you can send a DM to this number. If you make payment today and you would like to have a one-on-one consultation with me, so depending on what your career path is, one thing I would advise you to do is, because all of these programs are the same, AI automation, video creation, business analysis, they are all the same price. You're going to get it tonight at 100,000 and you can join the cohort that just started today. That means that you are already ahead of your learning. If you missed the cohort that started today, you can join the next cohort. The next cohort is the 1st of August. However, this does put your learning back 1 month. So you can decide, it's entirely up to you. If you want to join the cohort that just started today, it's 100,000. Now for the August 1 cohort, the full price is 150, but you can pay in full for 120,000 if you want to get in, or you can break down your payments into tranches, which is 50, 50, 50,000, which is 150,000. Okay. Now, for you to make payments, it's very simple, very straightforward. Deborah has shared a link. So when you go there, let me just show you what that looks like. So when you go there, you click on the first link. This is what you're going to see. It looks like this. And then you can just select the course that you are going for, and you can click on enroll now. When you click on enroll now, all you have to do is sign in. You sign in with your email address, and then it's going to redirect you to where you're going to make the payment. Okay, so this is the page. You can come here and you can select the payment plan. Okay, I'm going to say choose your payment plan. I'm going to come here and select my cohort. I'm going to select the August cohort. If I select August cohort, I can make my payment. So just select if you want to make it in 3 installments or if you want to pay at once. Okay, which is 100,000. Or you can select the July cohort we just started today, like I mentioned, and you can get into the July cohort. All right, so it's very straightforward. We also have the second link as well. You can just click on the second link and go there. If you're having any issues or whatever, you can select. Let me just quickly show you what the second link looks like. Okay, so this is the second link. So you can come here, you can select your currency. And when you select your currency, you can also see, so this is your currency. You can say, okay, I want to see this in CDs. I want to pay USD, and then you enter your email address, you impute the amount you want to pay, and you make your payments. Very straightforward process. Then you also have a link as well to book a clarity call. So let's say you make payments, but you're not sure. You're still not sold. Do you want to go for AI automation or do you want to go for business analysis? That's fine. I would say just make the payments, especially so that you can lock the discounts down. And then we can now have a conversation on what do you think is the best path for me to take. All right, so I'm going to quickly answer Stanley's question. Stanley has been talking about video content creation. So let's go back there. Stanley, are you still on the call? Stanley, are you still on the call? You can send a thumbs up if you are. Just send a thumbs up. Fantastic. All right. Emmanuel said the webinar is too long. You have to forgive us, Emmanuel. Our sincere apologies. So under this track, you're going to be learning how you can build, how you can develop content. We're going to be teaching you how you can use tools like Leonardo AI, You're going to be using tools like HeyGen. You're going to be using tools like Gemini. I gave you an example of how you can literally use AI to create different characters. So how can you use AI to create characters? How you can use AI to create live characters, have them on Instagram, on TikTok, how you can use AI to create videos. I still can't access the Google form. Okay, Kolawole, you know what you're going to do? Send a DM to the number here. Let me just copy and paste it. So the number you send your receipts, you can send a DM to the number. Okay, I think Deborah dropped the number here. Let me just paste it for you. Okay, so send a DM to this number. We'll make sure that we get it across to you. Okay, so Stanley, you're going to be learning how you can create AI voices and how you can have your characters, have the AI voices, how you can create, how you can edit your videos, turn text to images, turn images to videos. And this is what people use to automate entire platforms. So people use this for their YouTube video creation, and they just put it on a loop. They literally never have to open it and look at it again. I gave you an example of how you have some people who are actually, they're not real people, and they're just AI influencers, and you can't tell only when you are looking at the inconsistencies there. You can just say, oh my goodness, this is AI, but AI has gotten so good. So you're going to learn how you can create amazing videos using AI, and you don't have to sit down and film anything. So the foundations of using AI for workflow, for content creation and all of that, the automation of that, how to use that to build a portfolio for yourself as well, just in case you want to put your profile on Fiverr. And really, I would say it also depends on what your workflow is. So if you're an influencer, your workflow is different. If you maybe want to create videos for YouTube, your workflow is different. But this serves every single workflow. But again, the value depends on what you are specifically looking for here. So I hope I've answered your question, Stanley. All right, so I'm going to check the comment section to see if we have questions. Peter said, please shed more light on AI in data analytics. That's what I want. I've paid, but I've been told it's too saturated. Everybody's doing it. So, that's the same way people always say that tech is saturated. Everybody's doing it. But I asked a question on this call earlier. I asked you, how many of you are familiar with Claude? And everyone raised their hands. And then I asked how many people are familiar with Fable. And a lot of us were not familiar with it. But that does demonstrate how it's saturated for the people who are actually solving problems and the people who are actually in demand. We don't have enough of that. So data analytics is not saturated. That's one thing you have to just completely shift that mentality, dead it. Your people are looking right now for data analysts. Let me just go back there so we can. Fantastic. People are looking for data analysts who can use AI as co-pilots. So I'm going to give you an example. Your typical data analyst is going to spend a long time, maybe a couple of days, cleaning a data set. It will take them that long. But a data analyst who is powered by AI will literally do it in a matter of minutes, because they understand how to use AI workflows. They understand how to create dashboards much faster than your typical data analyst. So when you hear something is saturated, there is always a differentiation in there. The differentiation here, number one, is speed, which is where AI comes in, because AI compresses time, which is why the idea is not just for you to learn data analytics, it's for you to learn generative AI for data analytics. That is the core difference. And then number two, problem solving. Companies are looking for people who can problem solve for them. This is not a saturated field because we don't have enough problem solvers who actually know how to apply AI to their workflows. So I would say that's the thought. It's one thing that would hold you back because you're thinking it's saturated, but every day people are getting hired for this. I just walked you through some stories, and you can see Pavel, for example, who was in healthcare. So he got a job as a healthcare data analyst, and he got a job in Arizona. So this is why people are saying it's saturated, and lots of people are getting jobs. So don't talk yourself out of opportunities because you say it's saturated. Instead, ask, how do I get in on this? But one thing, there is some truth to what you did say, though, to the saturation aspect. It's why you have to move quickly, because it's going to happen sooner or later. But right now, the window is still open. But every moment that you wait, every moment that you delay, that is happening. More and more people are getting skilled in AI. So when the market catches up, the opportunities that exist today will no longer exist, at least not to this level. All right. Do we have any questions? If you have, I think, Ada, your hand is up. I think that's an old one. So you can drop your hand if you don't have a question. All right. If you have a question, you can either raise your hand or you can drop your question in the chat section. Okay. You can either raise your hand or you can drop it in the chat section. Okay. We don't have any questions. No questions? Okay. All right. Fantastic. I think I see a question here where Peter was asking, okay, no, I think I've answered this question. Is it for the full, okay, is it not too okay, it's not saturated. And then the 100K payment, yes, it's for the full 8 weeks. I think that completes that. Let me see if we have any other questions here. If you have problems with the form, please send a DM to the number that's Deborah drops in the chat section. All right, so I don't think we have any other questions. Now remember the prompts that Peter is asking, how do I make payment? So for you to make payment, Peter, you can use any of these links that Tolulope has dropped in the chat. So you can either use the first link, you can select the course that you want to pay for. If you're not sure which one you want to go for, you can just use start button, you can make a payment, you can click on the second link, make your payment, and then you can book a clarity call, and we'll have a conversation to find out which one is the best fit for your career at this point. All right, so I don't think we have any other questions. Everyone seems to be fine. Fantastic. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. Remember that if you want to gain access to the prompts that I used today, it will be shared with everyone who fills out the attendance form. So make sure you fill out the attendance form so you gain access to the recording, and you also gain access to the prompts that we use today to build the tool that analyzes your resume from the perspective of a recruiter. All right, so if you don't have any other questions or comments, okay, Babatunde is saying, I came in late. I'm a financial analyst with years of experience working with share registration company. What exact program is suitable for me? So this would depend on a factor of things. Babatunde, it will depend on where you are at right now in your career, what you want to accomplish. But considering that you have a financial analyst background, hi everyone. I'm not even sure how that happened. Like I kicked myself out of the meeting. I think Babatunde was asking a question. I was answering that before I dropped off. I can't see the history again, but Babatunde was asking, he's a financial analyst, or he has experience in finance. And right now he works in a share registration company, and he's wondering what program will be the best fit for him. So are you still on the call, Babatunde? You can send a thumbs up if you're still on the call. Thumbs up. Send a thumbs up. Is Babatunde still on the call? Thumbs up. Okay. Maybe he's dropped off the call. But what I would actually suggest based off your background is, considering you're coming from finance, you're used to working with data, and people who are used to working with data would typically go for data analytics. So generative AI in data analysis is the best fit for you. You're comfortable with numbers. You've probably used Excel before. So now generative AI data analysis will just be taking the skills, the foundational skills that you already have, to the next level. That's the first thing I would suggest for you. The other ones that would be a fit for your career path would be business analysis, projects management. That's generative AI in business analysis and projects management. But I would not necessarily suggest that. I think the best fit for you right now, based on where you are at, is generative AI for data analysis. It's the closest fit. So you can use that to improve what you already do or what you have a background in, which is dealing with numbers. Okay, thank you so much for pasting that again. So my suggestion for you is for you to go for generative AI for data analysis. But it's fine if you feel like it's not the best fit. I would say just lock down the discounts tonight, and then you can book a clarity call and we can have a conversation on which one is the best fit for you, Babatunde. But what I'm suggesting you go, and I think it's the best decision. I think that data analysis, generative AI in data analysis is perfect for where you are at right now. All right. I hope you got that, Babatunde. Hope you got it. Okay. Do we have any other questions before we call it a day? Irene said, I just paid, but it showed transaction completed and the page went blank. Okay. Irene, could you confirm where you paid? But it's all good. It just sent a message to the phone number that Deborah has dropped in the chat. Deborah, do you mind dropping the phone number again so Irene can send the message? Okay. All right. Do we have any other questions? Any questions? We can take one more. Okay, so Irene, you have the phone number. Just send a DM to the phone number and we'll sort that out for you real quick. So remember, a discount is running tonight. And you get that discount only from now until 12 a.m. That's 12 a.m. what? After that, it's gone. You can decide to pay 100,000 and you get started with the cohort that got started today. That means that your learning can start immediately. Stanley is saying, what AI skills do I need to learn? Stanley, that's a question that I cannot answer. If I'm being honest with you, it would depend on where your career is at. There are different AI skills. Someone once asked me, what is the best AI tool? I thought it was such an interesting question because the best AI tool depends on what your workflow looks like. A data analyst and a cybersecurity analyst do not use the same AI tools every day. If at all they use anything that is the same, it's probably ChatGPT or Claude, but they use it in completely different ways. Okay, Stanley is saying, I'm a software engineer. Okay, so for someone like you, we'd be looking at a range of tools. As a software engineer, we'd be looking at tools like Replit, for example. We'll be looking at tools like Claude Code. So it's completely different for your workflow. Babatunde is asking, how do I make payments? So Babatunde, click on the link that Tolulope just shared. You can click on the first link. That first link, if you already know which one you want to go for, which course you want to go for, you can click there and you can make your payment. But it's okay if you select one and you decide you want to change your mind, you can still change your mind later. So click on the link that Tolulope has shared. So Stanley, the one that is best for you depends on your workflow. But as a software engineer, do you remember what we did in ChatGPT, in Claude rather? Do you remember? I think we ran your resume through this. Okay, so we ran your resume through this. Let me just quickly let me quickly show this again, although we already did. So we already discussed this, Stanley. Do you see this? This is your resume. Okay, this is your resume. It's the last one that we scanned in the pipeline. And from what you can see, these are the tools that you need to become familiar with. So what I would say for you, Stanley, is that get started with you need to get started with our software, AI in software engineering. So sign up for that, get started, and let's get started on how you can upskill yourself on this. I mean, especially Claude Code. You want to be serious in the market, you need to know how to use Claude Code, including all of these. This is what employers are looking out for. And Stanley's question is also another reason why you need to build this. So you build this in your Claude and you're able to, find out what tools should I be learning? What should I be getting familiar with? What am I exposed to? What are the red flags that are in my resume? So Stanley, I hope I've answered your question. You want to start learning, I would say register for this. Register for generative AI for software development. We're going to be teaching you how you can use tools like Lovable, like Vercel, like Stitch, how you can use Claude Code. So pretty much it's doing what you already do, but you are doing it faster. That is the difference. You're doing it faster and you are staying up to date with what is changing in the market. All right. Do we have any other questions? Or are you experiencing any difficulties? Any questions, any difficulties? All right. I don't think anyone has any questions again. So on behalf of myself and my colleagues, thank you so much for staying on the call with us. It's been 2 hours and we are incredibly grateful that you took the time out of your busy lives to join us. So before I leave you, I do want to drop something. The world is changing and it's very easy to say, oh, Lola, you just came here because you want to come and sell a new course to me and you want me to sign up now. But I had someone join a masterclass that I took, I think it was a few months ago, and he told me something that really stood out. He said that he had seen Tenalytics. He saw us about 2 years ago. He was in Canada and he said, when I saw you guys at the time, I didn't have the money and I wasn't ready to get started. And now he still works in the same job that he was working in, which is care. And he's finally come back to Tenalytics to say, you know what, let's do it. And I was happy for him in that moment that he made that decision. But when you look at how much time had passed, and he hadn't gotten any, he pretty much had just remained in the same position. He had not yet moved. And that's why I tell people our USP is you coming in and getting a job. That's the USP. You're coming in, you're becoming employable. So how do we get you from where you are to a point where you become employable? That's the main thing. And he had missed out on this for 2 years. You don't want to be in that position. And especially because this is AI. AI is changing the way the world works. The kind of things that we're doing right now is going to be different from the kind of things we're going to be doing in the next 2, 3, 4 years. And the best time for you to get started is today. So thank you so much, everyone. For everyone who has decided to register, I will be seeing you in class. On behalf of myself and my colleagues, it was amazing being your host tonight. Please enjoy the rest of your evening or the rest of your day, depending on where you're joining us from. Bye, everyone.